All right, everybody, what is up? And welcome back for another 10-minute daily episode and update with your boy Philakone. So thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoy these updates, let me know by just hitting that like button and make sure you're subscribing to this. So first things first, I'm never going to waste your time. I'm always going to jump right to the point because I know that time is a very valuable commodity and everybody is extremely busy, so I will present you with the most important information that you will need to know. Yesterday, I did release a video in regards to Bitcoin's greed and risk levels reaching high levels, and because of that, I was more so leaning towards a neutral bearish stance. So just starting off with the basics, we can see that Bitcoin hit a high of roughly $74,000 and it dropped about 11% already. Now, there's a very important measure of volatility, which is called the ATR, the average true range, and it's one of the best measurements of how a coin is trending, and it also weighs the volatility of the coin. So this right here on the 12-hour time frame, we can see that ever since the beginning of around January 28, the volatility has held absolutely true. So if the volatility changes on a specific time frame, it would indicate an overall trend change as well. Now, you can use it on multiple time frames and there will be many different breaks. For example, there was a break over here. So identifying it on the best time frame will give you the best gauge of how it has been trending. And you can see that Bitcoin over the course of this period here for now 48 days, we still continue the trend. Therefore, it's safe to say for now that around this region of $66,000 is a safe place to find a reasonable support. But it doesn't mean that it's not possible for us to break to lower lows. And you can see that if you look at it on the daily time frame, the support level is much lower than $66,000. So if I have to make a guess that we're more likely to hit this daily support level around $62,000, $63,000 because the daily chart is much better of a representation than a 12-hour chart. So we can see that the market cap dropped by a substantial amount. My portfolio ended up falling by about 9% total, which is huge because of the amount of altcoins that I have. So my portfolio today fell down by over $600,000. But that's all right because we have to understand that with any major rally that we've seen, and we have seen a major rally since the beginning of pretty much October, where it's gone up by 187%. So these types of corrections, they need to be really understood. And especially if you're new to crypto and you have never seen a major bull market before, or if you don't have that much experience, please take my word when I tell you that we're often going to see multiple drops along the way of 20, 30, 40% even sometimes. So if we take a look at the total market cap, we see that sharply fallen down. One of the biggest drops that we've seen. Actually, since the high was hit, we ended up dropping about 11.4%. Market dominance for Bitcoin is still staying the same, and the altcoin market minus Bitcoin and Ethereum basically has fallen down by a total of 13%. So my overall portfolio as well, you can see every single coin actually in the red with Near Protocol and Gala making the biggest drops. But I do believe that this is a temporary drop and there's more likely to see a rally very soon. And it does make a lot of sense to see a $69,000 all-time high challenge. And of course, if we couldn't stay above it, which was the narrative for yesterday, I was saying that we're stalling, we should be flying past it. But due to this fact, we can see that many people are likely to take their profits. And unfortunately, we ended up getting a major bull trap above those prices. So whenever you want to take a look at Bitcoin for the all-time history index, what I recommend doing is typing in BTC index. And if you type in BTC index, you'll get the history of everything that has happened in Bitcoin before. And you can see that just as an example in 2017 here during the bull rally, even in March, you were able to see 33% drops over here. Over here, you're able to see 40% of a drop. This one over here, you saw a 40% of a drop as well. And these drops can happen incredibly fast. This is on a 4-day candle, and you can see that in this one 4-day candle by itself, it dropped about 26%. So these drops are not that uncommon. So expect heavy volatility along the way. And you can also see that after we reached the bottom in March of 2020 here, we ended up getting some significant drops, 21%, even over here, about 17%, and more drops along the way over here as well, 30%. And then this is a major drop, 25%. And then this is another major drop as well of 55%. Now, let's hope that we don't get the same type of, well, hope is never a strategy, keep in mind, but we have seen some significant drops like this Black Swan event where it dropped 72%. But we have to understand that this is a completely different beast for this bull market. We've actually broken the all-time high already. Usually it takes us a much longer period of about 2-3 months to break the all-time high after the halving event. But in this case, we ended up smashing it with flying colors. We're now finding some resistance again above this particular zone at 69K. And in my honest opinion, I don't believe we're going to break above it anytime soon, even shortly after the halving. It'll most likely take a period of, I would guess, 2 to 3 months to break past this high. Because I've demonstrated in previous videos before that after we reach the halving period, it usually takes a period of about 2 months of accumulation. And then after the accumulation period, about 2 months as well. And then we break to the all-time highs. So just to give you an example, if I were to take a look at 2016 over here, we see that the halving event was around July. And to break this all-time high in 2017, which was around over here, the previous one, okay? So this is the previous halving high. You can see that just zooming in here. So this is the halving period around July. And then we have a roughly 70 days, about 2 months of accumulation. And then after that, it actually took, oh, my mistake. It took a little bit longer than that. It took about 5 months to eventually break it. And that was in 2017. And if we take a look at the next halving period over here, this was an earlier one. I believe it was in May in 2020. So this was the halving period, May of 2020. There's an accumulation period of roughly, this one was about 80 days. And then after the accumulation period, roughly the same thing, about 5 months until we actually broke the all-time high of 20K. So I'm actually not surprised in any way that we tested it, but we never actually broke it and stayed above it, because it's very common for us to find this type of resistance when it's such a long time trending resistance. So please make sure you understand that these drops are going to occur way more often than you would like. But every time that a drop does occur, it's always going to present itself as an opportunity. Myself, a lot of people are wondering, did I sell anything in my portfolio at all? And my answer is no, I didn't, because I more so believe in holding an extremely long period of time rather than trying to micromanage my portfolio where it could get me wrecked. I've attempted that in the past before, where I've attempted to sell even a smaller amount of positions, but I always face that risk of it jumping to the upside and rallying extremely hard to the point where, unfortunately, I was waiting for a dip, and waiting for a dip has a lot of risk. And that major risk is it flying to the upside, and you actually never get a chance to buy anything at all, because now you're forced to, or buy back cheaper rather, now you're forced to actually buy back at a higher price. And this is one of the rookie mistakes that many people make. Their greed gets in the way and they hope that they can buy back at a cheaper price, but it just never happens. And then they end up buying back at a much higher price, which is just devastating. Can you imagine if you sold 30% of your position because you were hoping to buy back at a lower price, and then the price goes up like 15-20% instead, and then you buy back even at a higher price? That is a very devastating strategy, in my opinion. But of course, many people would disagree with me because I more so fit in the diamond hands category. And many people I know, they have no problems allocating a specific amount in their portfolio that they allow to take profit. So you can also take profit on strength when it's still parabolic, and that's okay. So I'm just going to leave you guys off with one last Elliot wave count here because we're at 10 minutes already. If I had to do an Elliot wave count right now, this is my count. Where we finished the 1 already. This is now 1, 2, 3. This is now the 4 forming. And we're actually getting a 4th wave drop. And we haven't even had a major cycle yet. Like if you take a look here, this one is actually only a 1st wave. This is most likely a 4th wave. And there's still a 5th wave coming as well. Not only that, if you look on the huge picture right now, you can see like an expanding diagonal possibly forming. Now, mind you, this could be a stretch, of course, okay, but bull markets do love expanding diagonals. And if you can see here that just giving a general Elliott wave count, it's not that difficult for us to hit 100K if this ends up being a major cycle that ends up occurring. But of course, it can go way higher than that. There could be extended parabolic waves and extended fifth waves, etc. So right now, the main key takeaway from this video is that corrections happen all the time. Don't be too concerned about it. Always see it as an opportunity for you to dollar cost average further. Despite your portfolio getting wrecked, you are not here for the small term gains. You are here for the big gains that's going to be yielded in late 2024 and most likely riding all the way till 2025's bull market ends. And also keep in mind that whenever a halving period occurs, for example, in 2016, it always leads to a new all-time high, and that took 525 days. And then the last halving period in 2020 led to an all-time high in 545 days. So this is a cycle that's very common. So after this halving period in April, you can expect a major rally to occur. I would predict leading up to around October season, which will be around 540 days. So make sure that you're always keeping up with the market. Make sure you're staying informed, because if you want to maximize your profits, you guys are going to follow me and hit that like button. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you enjoyed your 10-minute update. Bye now.